Hey folks, what's here? Welcome back to another Pokemon Master video. So Crobat Synchrid, well, expanded Synchrid because its Synchrid was always there, just got expanded, right? It's now out with the Poison type training event, and let's go over it, I guess. However, here's the thing. Here's a big thing about Crobat Synchrid, right? Yes, it is expanded. No, you can't really. I mean, technically you can, but it's probably not wise to do so. But you can't really get like the whole thing right now because of the restriction on the attempts per day on the ultra hard event, which I personally am not a huge fan of. But it's the thing where you have to once per day, and then you get like 8 to like 12 tickets. And then you have to like do it 10 days in a row, around 10 days, and then you like exchange them for and you can only do it once per day. It's probably going to take a while before folks get their, 4-star tech move candy for Crobat, right? If you are even trying to use it on Crobat, you could obviously, keep it saved for Nanu, or use it on Masquerain for that 3 out of 5, or 2 out of 5 Masquerain if you don't, ever. Like, Masquerain's actually not a bad one to use it on. Because, like, at 3 out of 5, you actually get First Aid for, which is really, really nice, right? There's some other decent stuff. Ramp up is cool, like X speed ramp up. If you want to do that tripwire, but like none of these like are as important as like First Aid 4, right? Because First Aid 4 is really, really good for Masquerain. But aside from that, using it for Crobat's also a really good idea because Crobat here's the thing with Crobat's grid, right? Crobat's grid at 2 out of 5 is not amazing. It's straight up just not amazing. However, Crobat's grid at 3 out of 5 is really, really, really good. So if you want to keep that tech candy for Crobat and, wait for like the next tech candy, just whenever the dark type training event, rolls around, right? You could use that 4-star tech candy from the dark type training event if Nanu's grid isn't that good. Although Nanu could potentially be very, very good because Nanu is really nice at base, right? With the Screech. Screech is just really, really good. And maybe if they get an aggravation on him as well, that would be nice. But again, 4-star attack there's options where you could go with it. But anyways, let's just get into Crobat's grid. We'll talk about 1, 2, and 3 for Crobat's grid because we usually don't do like 1 out of 5 grids for free to play units because before these changes, there's no point doing 1 out of 5 because you could just easily grind out the 2 out of 5. But, for this first 10 days or so, you'll be stuck with 1 out of 5, unfortunately, if you're not using replay tickets. So, anyways, for 1 out of 5 grid, Crobat really doesn't have much. It's pretty straightforward. Just get like a Poison Fang MGR, get the move like a Shadow MP refresh, X Speed, MPR, Venoshock move gauge refresh, and it looks like the X on Metagross's head. I don't know why I said the X on Metagross's head when I could have just said an X. I don't know. Too entrenched in Pokemon, I guess. As for some other stuff, this special attack plus 10 is nice. Again, it really depends on what you're trying to do. If you're just trying to use like Crobat for poison, you don't even need Venoshock. Like this is all you need if you're just trying to poison the opponent. But if you're also trying to do some damage with Crobat, which isn't not the best damage yield, but it could do some stuff. You could also pick up the Venoshock nodes if you want. The special attack node over there. Nothing else is really relevant. But yeah, you can pick up these. And if you're using Crobat just for damage, then you probably don't even need to pick up the move gauge refresh. But you could you could leave it to save some orbs, but obviously picking it up is much better. It's what, MGR3. So yeah, 1 out of 5 Crobat, not very interesting. And when it was 2 out of 5 Crobat gets like slightly more interesting, but also not extremely interesting. All the good stuff, again, like I mentioned before, is at 3 out of 5. So for a 2 out of 5 grid on Crobat, you do have some other options. For example, you do have this Toxic Power 2 down here, and you also have Blind Spot, which you could sync nuke, but like not really because you're not at 3 out of 5, so you don't have this extra plus 50 on your sync move power, which again, it's not the biggest thing in the world, but obviously would help a lot if you're trying to sync nuke with Crobat, right? But anyways, as for a 2 out of 5 Crobat, you could build an okay-ish Venoshock build, right? Because you could pick up Venoshock MGR, pick up all these Venoshock nodes, Oh yeah, also the Toxic Power down here. Depending on what you want to do, you can either pick up the X Speed MP Refresh or pick up the Poison Fang. I'd prefer the X Speed MP Refresh, but Poison Fang is slightly cheaper, so if you want to do that, that's fine as well. Obviously, you could pick up some more Venoshock nodes. If you want that blind spot for the extra little damage on your sync move, you could go for that as well. Again, like I mentioned before, you don't really have too many options. No point picking out muscle. Raising your attack is kind of pointless. You're not going to be doing damage with Poison Fang. You're just trying to poison opponents with Poison Fang, not to actually do damage. So if you are actually picking up blind spot, you need your evasiveness to be raised. And for a move like a Shadow, right, it doesn't give you max evasiveness. It's only sharply, right? So it gives you +4. You need +6 to have blind spot at max. So you probably would want to pick up a move like Shadow MP Refresh as well, unless you are using a support that could give you evasion. Not many supports give evasion. Obviously, the big one over here would be Misty. That gives you a bit of evasion, right? That's like the main evasion one. Off the top of my head, I can't really remember anyone else. But obviously, Misty is the big one. Let me actually see. Let's where's the evasion tag? So I could find that. Any other? Oh, that's a lot of stuff. Wait, where'd their tags go? I remember they had like tags for units on Game Press. Did they like take that thing away or something? Oh no. Oh, here it is. Evasion up. And ally. Those are all for themselves. Lipards for himself as well. Nano thinks for himself. Yeah, I think that's like the main one. Is Electrode for himself? Oh, an ally. Yeah. Misty Stormy is literally the only one. Never mind. I guess I was correct on that one then. No wonder I couldn't think of anyone else, because there's no one else. So yeah, that's your only option. If you don't want to run Misty, obviously you could just hope you get an MP Refresh on this. Although Misty is a really good unit to run anyways, so it's if you run Misty, it's not a bad thing. For the last two energies, just pick up like speed or something. No point picking up anything else. Anyways, but yeah, like I mentioned, for 2 out of 5, you don't have too many options, unfortunately. So yeah, there's that, I guess. Again, if you're just running Crobat just for the poison, you don't need the Venoshock, then you get a much cheaper grid. Just pick up that, and then like you're basically good. If you want, again, all these MP refreshes, you're fine with the, these are nice as well. But again, this is basically no different from the 1 out of 5 grid. So anyways, moving on. Well, I guess you could pick up some more like speed and stuff, right? Is this cheaper? Yeah, that's cheaper. But anyways, moving on to 3 out of 5. 3 out of 5 is where Crobat gets really interesting, because you do get Venoshock Mind Games 9, which every time you use Venoshock is a guaranteed lower special defense. This is very valuable, because there's no unit in the game outside of, I think, where is it? Delphox. Is Delphox guaranteed? I can't remember if it's... No, it's not guaranteed. Yeah, I think like Crobat's like the only unit in the game that guarantees special defense decrease, right? Unlike physical defense, you got like Leer from Kukui Lycanroc, Screech from Tech Rattata, I want to say. Tech Rattata, Tech Egg Rattata, and Nanu and Alola Persian, right? Those are your only options for... Well, not only options, there's 3. There's your options for guaranteed defense down, and then I think this is the only one that we have for guaranteed special defense down, right? So this is obviously very valuable. So as for a grid for Koga, you also do get Toxic Power 3 as well, so that's really nice. But if you do want to run a Venoshock build for Koga, you could definitely do some good stuff here. You also get access to Bob and Weave, which should be an extra 30% increase when you max out your evasiveness. So if you want that, you probably would have to bring Misty. I think that's probably a requirement, because like the other thing you probably want to go for is over here to pick up Toxic Power 3, right? Because like here's your options. So you either pick up Toxic Power 3 or you pick up Critical Strike here, because and then you could pick up like Toxic Power 2. But this is like the same result as getting Toxic Power 3, because that's 10% here and then 20% here, right? And this is obviously 30%. 10% plus 20% is 30%. So basically these two power-ups are the same. However, you do get a bit better stuff in this path to get Toxic Power 3, because you do get extra 25 on your sync move bonus, right? If you go pick up Toxic Power 3 instead of Crit Strike 1, and also, you know, Toxic Power 3 only requires your opponent to get poisoned and doesn't have to be, you know, also 100% on your crit, which if you're using Crobat to do damage, you should have your crit at 100% anyways. But, you know, that's just makes it like slightly easier. And again, more importantly, you do pick up the extra 25 power in your sync move, right? As for some other builds, if you're like not if you're not worried about like Crobat doing damage himself, just as a, again, more of a tech unit, you could obviously, you know, build something else, right? If you want to be a special support that also does like some poison stuff, right? You could go ahead and you go ahead and pick up Venoshock. You could go up there. You could pick up Poison Fang, MG. MG refresh, and then let's see, go up here, pick up Slippery Sidekicks if you want to raise the evasiveness of all your allied sync pairs, which again is not like the biggest deal, but it's nice to have. And then with that, also you probably would want to pick up X Speed MP refresh, right? So yeah, that's what you want if you're just using it for like a pure like tech sync pair that you don't want to like worry too much about like anything else. Although it would be nice to pick up the Venoshock move gauge refresh as well. So like, again, it depends on what you're like. If you're more leaning it into a heavy, I gotta poison my opponent thing, obviously you pick up, you know, you should probably pick up the Poison Fang MG refresh. If you're more into, if you more so want your Koga to lower the opponent's special attack, or not special attack, special defenses, then you could drop that. And if you do drop that, you could like drop all of these as well and just go over here. I think is that slightly cheaper? Actually it's not. Let's see, 3, 8, this is what, 7, right? Yeah, this is 7. Actually, this is cheaper. Coincidentally, and you get better stuff here, right? You get extra 5 defense and 15 speed instead of the sync that you do not need, because remember, this is a more tech build, so you don't really need that, right? Also, this isn't like extremely necessary, but it definitely helps. But yeah, you could do that instead if you are going for you know, more techish build here. And obviously you got the best build ever, which you could go ahead, pick these up, pick this up, and then you got a grid that looks like a Crobat. There's that as well, I guess. Looks like a Crobat. Look at it. Look at it. Anyways, well, yeah, that's me for this one, I guess. Outsmart. I just want to mention Outsmart. Here's the thing about Outsmart, but before we go, I just want to mention it real quick. Here's the thing about Outsmart, right? Let me pick up, where's Koga? Where's Koga? Koga die? Oh, no, here's Koga. Outsmart is fine for Villa. Like, it seems good for Villa. The reason why I'm not a huge fan of Outsmart is like, it's really risky unless you are using Misty on your team to you know, give you gradual healing, because like these defenses, again, the special defense is fine, but like the physical defense isn't that great. And again, this is like basically, you know, RNG on the dodge, right? So I'm not a huge fan of picking up Outsmart 4. The chances are really high, but you do have to dodge the move, right? Like if you're running say like a Koga, Misty, and Clement team, that obviously would be very, very useful. But it's also, again, still pretty risky. But yeah, anyways, well, that's me with this one. I hope you guys enjoy. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Like and enjoy this video, so any chance for some more Pokemon Masters content. Good luck getting your 4-star tech candy, and yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one.